My name is Yu Minglei. I was supposed to be a rich heiress and a professional supermodel. Unexpectedly, at my own birthday party, I was poisoned by my boyfriend. No, he should be called a scumbag now, and my best friend. When I woke up, Yu Minglei had become a chubby mukbang streamer named Xiao Xinxin. Thinking of my previous wonderful life, I felt like the sky was falling. Now, Yu Minglei know, Xiao Xinxin has a scumbag boyfriend just like before. Life is like this. Fate always likes to play jokes on you. Not only that, Xiao Xinxin also has a bunch of bizarre parasitic family members. She's not only mocked and ridiculed every day, but also occasionally set up and targeted. Now her family has started to care about Xiao Xinxin again, asking her to make a will, so that after something happens, all the inheritance will go to her so-called family. Yu Minglei, reborn as Xiao Xinxin, never thought that Xiao Xinxin's fate would be even worse than her previous life. Not only do her family members mock and ridicule her, but her boyfriend is also a scumbag. After all, Xiao Xinxin was previously a rich heiress, so she definitely has a temper. With a couple of slaps, she smacked her brother dizzy and scolded him. If mom won't discipline you, I, as your sister, will teach you a lesson. Xiao Xinxin also made an important decision. That's right, to lose weight. Only by successfully losing weight and becoming beautiful can she better attract her ideal man. With her current experiences, she can also better avoid scumbags. So Xiao Xinxin found an excuse to tell others that as a mukbang streamer, only by losing weight and getting fit, having a good figure, can she attract more fans. In her imagination, how handsome and gentle he is. She liked him so much. How can there be such a handsome man in this world? Suddenly, Xiao Xinxin shuddered violently, thinking about how her company was taken away by her so-called best friend and that scumbag. She became furious. Now, Xiao Xinxin has done some deep introspection. How could she have been so stupid before to believe that pair of scumbags? She must have had water in her brain before. Never mind. Since she's living a second life, she must take back everything she lost. Back to the beginning of this time, it was when Yu Minglei was about to be poisoned. Yu Minglei's so-called boyfriend and best friend conspired to harm her, planning to seize her company. At this time, Yu Minglei didn't notice anything wrong. After all, it was a drink given by her boyfriend. But this one drink would become the key to Yu Minglei's new life. Yu Minglei never imagined that she would be harmed by someone, and those who harmed her were the people she trusted the most. The pair of scumbags beside her were still pretending, acting as if nothing had happened. The slowest Yu Minglei should have realized by now that she had been betrayed. But it was too late. This pair of scumbags even hypocritically called for an ambulance. Yu Minglei seemed to know. She reluctantly begged the doctor to save her. She still wanted revenge. She couldn't just die like this without knowing why. At this time, there was another person who would become the main character later, Xiao Xinxin, who was also dying from food poisoning due to overeating during her live stream. Whether it was heaven playing a joke or not, Xiao Xinxin and Yu Minglei's hands crossed. With a gasp, Xiao Xinxin sat up. Yu Minglei, who hadn't reacted yet, thought she hadn't died. Suddenly feeling something was wrong, she thought, what's going on? This belly, this face, why are they so chubby? This doesn't seem to be my figure. As if realizing something, she thought, how did I become the chubby Xiao Xinxin? Xiao Xinxin sitting up scared everyone around. They all shouted that she had come back from the dead. The scene was extremely chaotic with people coming back from the dead. Those who could run all ran away, shouting, there's a ghost! Run quickly! Xiao Xinxin couldn't care about all this. She rushed to the sink to look at herself. Seeing herself become chubby, she felt like the sky was falling. Xiao Xinxin, who hadn't yet reacted, thought she was still the previous Yu Minglei. She wondered why she was suddenly here when she was supposed to be at her birthday party, and why she had become someone else. The suddenly appearing man also startled her. Who is this? This man didn't care about Xiao Xinxin's reaction. He rushed to her side, grabbed her shoulders, and comforted her, saying, I'm sorry, I came late. But Xiao Xinxin's subsequent reaction made this man think she had lost her memory. So he hurriedly called for a doctor, asking what was going on with the patient's memory loss. After a moment of confusion, thinking about her chubby figure, Xiao Xinxin, who had come to her senses, ran out crying, shouting that she wasn't Xiao Xinxin. As Xiao Xinxin thought more about it, things seemed increasingly strange. Suddenly, as if remembering something, She recalled the actions of her previous boyfriend and best friend and realized she had already been killed. Thinking of this, she fell silent. At this moment, that man also came over to comfort Xiao Xinxin. He told her to rest well, as her body was still very weak. But Xiao Xinxin seemed not to hear his words. In her heart, she was thinking about getting revenge and taking back everything she had lost. This man saw Xiao Xinxin sweating profusely. Thinking about her earlier behavior, he assumed she was feeling unwell somewhere and hurriedly wanted to call a doctor. Xiao Xinxin then spoke, recalling the memories of this body. She said she was Xiao Xinxin, a mukbang streamer, and that he was Chao Pengfei, her manager, and so on. Chao Pengfei, concerned about Xiao Xinxin, told her to consult with him in the future if she wanted to participate in such competitions. Xiao Xinxin clenched her fists and complained, "There's still a next time?" "No, there can't be a next time." Chao Pengfei seemed to sense something, feeling that Xiao Xinxin's way of speaking had changed. He thought it was because she was sick and in a bad mood. The current Xiao Xinxin was indeed not the previous Xiao Xinxin. So, she asked how she used to speak before. Manager Chao Pengfei gave an answer, saying that she used to be soft and gentle and would never object to anything he arranged. Xiao Xinxin knew that if she couldn't change today, she would definitely be suspected after succeeding. So she decided to make up a lie. She told Chao Pengfei that she had already died once, so naturally, everything had changed. Xiao Xinxin looked at the man who suddenly barged in and was startled again. Why did everyone call her Xinxin? And his tone was impatient, saying he wanted to go back as he still had to work overtime. Chao Pengfei, standing nearby, gave a hint saying, "This is your boyfriend." Xiao Xinxin was speechless inside. With her current appearance, she still had a boyfriend? What did he see in her? This boyfriend arrogantly said to Xiao Xinxin, "I've been messing around here for so long. I'll be scolded by my supervisor tomorrow." He hadn't realized at all that the current Xiao Xinxin was not the previous one and wouldn't tolerate his bad behavior. Xiao Xinxin told him to get lost and go back. Chao Pengfei tried to mediate, saying Xiao Xinxin had just woken up and was in a bad mood. The boyfriend replied that he could go back, but asked Xiao Xinxin to reimburse his taxi fare as he had taken a taxi to come here. Hearing this, Chao Pengfei was speechless. Xiao Xinxin complained, wondering what kind of people she had been with before, how they were all so weird. Chao Pengfei agreed, saying he had told her to break up long ago, but she didn't listen. She doubted if she had water in her brain before. Xiao Xinxin felt she didn't have any major problems now, so she wanted to go home quickly. She couldn't stay in the hospital for long. Chao Pengfei advised her to take it slow, as her bizarre family members were all there and would start causing trouble again. When Xiao Xinxin left the hospital, she saw a mother and son coming towards her and guessed they were her parasitic family members. Xiao Xinxin suddenly felt dizzy. Chao Pengfei beside her was concerned and asked if she felt unwell anywhere. Xiao Xinxin used this opportunity to brush it off. Just then a cold mockery came. "You fat pig, you're really tough. You didn't even die from this." It was evident how oppressed Xiao Xinxin was at home. If it were the previous Xiao Xinxin, she might have swallowed her anger. But now, she was Yu Minglei, a rich heiress. How could she tolerate their bad behavior? Xiao Xinxin's mother also pretended to care, telling her to make a will before dying and leave all her inheritance to her so-called family. Xiao Xinxin had just been discharged from the hospital, and instead of caring for her, they were mocking her. This was unacceptable. It turned out that if Xiao Xinxin had died, these so-called family members would have received compensation, and a substantial amount at that. No wonder Xiao Xinxin's boyfriend had rushed to the hospital earlier. His purpose was for this compensation. Now that Xiao Xinxin had come back to life, they all felt uneasy. Xiao Xinxin sighed, feeling that her current situation was even worse than before. At least before, she had family members accompanying her. Now, even her family didn't wish her well. She had to change herself, make everyone look at her differently, and make her family regret everything they were doing now. Xiao Xinxin, now enraged, rushed up to her brother and slapped him twice hard across the face. The brother was left dazed and confused, in a state of bewilderment. He never imagined that his weak sister would actually hit him. The brother then reacted, preparing to strike back. He thought to himself that he was protected by his mother, so how could he be hit by this weak sister? At that moment, Chao Pengfei grabbed Xiao Xinxin's brother's swinging hand and reprimanded him. He scolded the brother, asking if he didn't deserve to be hit for disrespecting his elders. Xiao Xinxin wasn't even dead yet, and he was already insulting her and trying to divide the money. It was too unsightly. Xiao Xinxin observed the manager's actions. On the surface, she thought it was not bad, but she didn't know if he was helping her because she could make money for him. She would have to spend more time with him to find out. Looking back at her brother who had been pushed to the ground and her mother who was stunned, Qiao Pengfei's righteous intervention made Xiao Xinxin see him in a new light, and she couldn't help but feel favorably towards him. After the commotion, Qiao Pengfei suggested taking Xiao Xinxin home to rest. After all, so much had happened, and the newly revived Xiao Xinxin needed time to calm down. After they left, the mother and son discussed their so-called daughter behind her back, feeling that she seemed like a different person, not like the soft and gentle Xiao Xinxin from before. On the way back, the two of them were sizing each other up, not knowing what the other was thinking. A sudden little Fei caught Xiao Pengfei off guard. What was going on? Had Xiao Xinxin developed a fever, or was something wrong with her body? After all, the previous Xiao Xinxin wasn't like this. How could she now call him in such a sickeningly sweet way? Qiao Pengfei was stunned. He couldn't imagine Xiao Xinxin calling him in such a cloying manner. Xiao Xinxin began her plan to act cute. After all, with this figure, seduction was definitely not an option. She could only rely on being cute to maintain her lifestyle. She thought about asking Qiao Pengfei to lend her some money to go shopping at the mall. This action scared Qiao Pengfei, making him break out in a cold sweat. It wasn't that he was unwilling to lend money, but Xiao Xinxin's current attitude left him unable to react. After all, previously, Xiao Xinxin had always been frugal, giving all her earned money to her so-called family and that scumbag boyfriend. He didn't know if it was just his imagination, but Xiao Xinxin acting cute seemed oddly adorable in Qiao Pengfei's eyes. Qiao Pengfei's hand involuntarily reached into his pocket, checking if he had money to lend to Xiao Xinxin. After a shopping spree, Qiao Pengfei had thought Xiao Xinxin would buy all sorts of food and toys. Unexpectedly, she bought a bunch of fitness equipment. This left Qiao Pengfei confused, wondering if she was really planning to lose weight. Xiao Xinxin patiently explained to Qiao Pengfei that as a mukbang streamer, how could she not have a good body? Only with a perfect figure could she attract more fans. Suddenly, an untimely sound broke the silence. Gurgle gurgle. Upon closer listening, it was Qiao Xinxin's stomach growling. After all, as a seasoned mukbang streamer, she had been hungry for an hour, so her stomach was bound to react. Qiao Pengfei kindly suggested that maybe she should eat first and then diet. This left her at a loss. Xiao Xinxin also had a temper. She said if she didn't want to eat, she wouldn't. After all, her previous figure could captivate thousands of handsome young men. Now, with this chubby belly, what was she supposed to do? Xiao Xinxin's tantrum somehow made Qiao Pengfei find her cute. Was this the feeling of falling in love? Ring ring. A phone call broke Qiao Pengfei's fantasy. The person on the other end of the phone said that Xiao Xinxin's food poisoning wasn't an accident. It was very likely intentional. On the other side, a streamer, whether a real mukbang streamer or a fake one, was posing and preening in front of the screen, even needing to be begged to eat ice cream. The fan's sincerity wasn't enough. She was just pretending and putting on airs, falsely saying she was joking and treating all fans equally. Just then, her phone rang. The person on the other end of the phone replied that Xiao Xinxin wasn't dead. After hearing that Xiao Xinxin wasn't dead, she felt terrible. After all, she had planned Xiao Xinxin's food poisoning. If she could eliminate Xiao Xinxin, she would have no competitors. The person on the phone had also done some post-processing. If they didn't, their future would be ruined. After all, there would always be traces left behind no matter what. After hanging up, she angrily smashed her phone. Xiao Xinxin was true to her word. For the sake of her figure, she went all out, exercising frantically, exhausting herself. She complained while working out. With her current body, how long would it take to get back to her previous devilish figure? She was on the verge of breakdown. However, Xiao Xinxin was determined for the sake of her figure. She cheered herself on, vowing to lose weight no matter how hard or tiring it was. She couldn't be mocked as a fatty for life. Time passed minute by minute, and Xiao Xinxin collapsed on the ground, exhausted. She didn't want to take another step. At this moment, Qiao Pengfei pushed the door open and came in. In his view, Qiao Xinxin's body hadn't fully recovered and shouldn't be doing intense exercise. Qiao Pengfei handed her a glass of water, advising her that she had just left the hospital and shouldn't push herself so hard. He wasn't sure if she listened, but she drank the water, not leaving a single drop. Qiao Xinxin was determined not to give up until she succeeded in losing weight. Time couldn't be wasted. She knew that time is precious, and resting for one more second meant being fat for one more second. Seeing the breakfast Qiao Pengfei had prepared for her, she felt a bit touched. But feelings aside, eating such a greasy breakfast would undo all her hellish training. She expressed that she wanted to drink black coffee and have an egg. Qiao Pengfei stood there in disbelief, wondering if Qiao Xinxin was really sick. The person who used to eat 20 pork knuckles in one sitting now just wanted a cup of black coffee and an egg. It was unbelievable. Qiao Xinxin went into the kitchen, made a cup of black coffee for Qiao Pengfei, and handed it to him. At this moment, Qiao Pengfei was still in a state of disbelief, marveling at how Qiao Xinxin had changed after her illness. She was like a completely different person. Qiao Xinxin smiled and said she wanted to completely change herself, say goodbye to her old self, and become a goddess pursued by all men. At this point, Qiao Pengfei mentioned a name to her, Feng Hairua. Since Qiao Xinxin had just adapted, it was normal that she couldn't remember. Qiao Pengfei quickly added, "It's the person who caused your food poisoning and sent you to the hospital." Qiao Xinxin expressed shock, not expecting such a dramatic thing to happen to her again. After all, it had already happened once. Qiao Xinxin asked why Feng Hairua wasn't arrested since she had poisoned her. Qiao Pengfei expressed regret, saying that because she wasn't killed by the poison, all evidence had been erased. Now there was no evidence to arrest anyone. Yun Minglei, who had been reborn as Qiao Xinxin, never imagined that she had been killed in her previous life. Now reborn as Qiao Xinxin, she had almost been killed again. She wondered if fate was playing tricks on her. Qiao Xinxin immediately comforted herself, thinking it didn't matter. Taking revenge on two people was still revenge. One more person didn't make much difference. She would stand up for the previous Qiao Xinxin this time. For the sake of losing weight, she was determined. She directly asked Qiao Pengfei to help her take time off. For some reason, Qiao Pengfei felt that Qiao Xinxin's gaze just now was familiar. It was as if he had seen it somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. After calming down, Qiao Xinxin returned to her previous home, wanting to visit her mother and tell her the truth about being harmed. Leonie was confused when she saw Lai Run, thinking she had never seen this person before the young Mrs. Death. Yet Lai Run could accurately call out her name. However, since she was here to pay respects, Leonie didn't think too much about it and quickly advised not to mention the young miss in front of the madam. Before entering, she heard the madam's voice. Yun Minglei, now Qiao Xinxin, seemed to have many things she wanted to tell her mother, but didn't know where to start. She could only hold back her tears and enter the house. When she walked in, she found that the couple who had caused her death were also there, right beside her mother. Anger welled up inside her. She wanted to confront them, but she knew no one would believe her now. She could only hold it in for the time being. Looking at this despicable couple, Qiao Xinxin suppressed all her anger, pretending to be calm and acting as if she were Yun Menglei's friend. Qiao Xinxin watched her frail mother stand up, feeling awful inside. She wanted to tell her mother everything, but she knew it wasn't the right time yet. The word mom was on the tip of her tongue, but she couldn't say it. This despicable couple was also trying to curry favor with Qiao Xinxin's mother, pretending to be pitiful. Unfortunately, the mother, unaware of the truth, treated her daughter's killers as people who cared about her. One can only imagine what would happen when Qiao Xinxin's mother finds out the truth. This so-called best friend started causing trouble again, asking why she had never heard Yun Minglei mention her before. If this best friend knew that the person in front of her was actually Yun Minglei, would she be scared to death on the spot? Qiao Xinxin answered the question of this so-called best friend with a kind face, but her eyes were full of murderous intent. After all, one's true feelings can't be hidden in their eyes. The mother, unaware of the truth, still thought the people sitting beside her were good people. She couldn't imagine that these two so-called good children were actually the real culprits who killed Yun Minglei. Qiao Xinxin spoke up, saying she had Yun Minglei's will. After all, she was Yun Minglei, and she could write the will however she wanted. Her mother would surely recognize her. Yun Minglei's boyfriend suddenly jumped up, because they were with Yun Minglei before, and when she died, there couldn't be any will they didn't know about. He questioned the authenticity of this will. The best friend also hurriedly jumped in, trying to confuse the issue and make Yun Minglei's mother believe Qiao Xinxin was making things up. Qiao Xinxin remained calm at this moment, saying whether it was nonsense or not would be clear after her mother read it. Her current body was really in bad shape. Just running these few steps had exhausted her. She wondered how long it would take to get better at this rate. Never underestimate a girl who has made up her mind to lose weight and is already taking action, because you have no idea where this motivation comes from. Although Qiao Xinxin's physical strength was approaching its limit, it still couldn't stop her determination. A sudden news broadcast made Qiao Xinxin, who was in the middle of losing weight, stop. Seeing her so-called boyfriend putting on an act on a TV show made her furious. She vowed to make them pay. Qiao Xinxin came back to her senses. Out of sight, out of mind, she asked the owner to turn off the TV. She wanted to focus on working out and achieving a perfect body. This time, she was determined to stun everyone and make them pay the price. Suddenly, the TV program switched to news about herself, Qiao Xinxin. All netizens expressed their intention to denounce this company and seek justice for Qiao Xinxin. The company stated that they would not accept any interviews regarding this matter. In the following days, Qiao Xinxin continued to follow the contents of her schedule every day. She woke up on time every day to exercise. On Qiao Pengfei's side, because of what happened to Qiao Xinxin, the company decided not to continue operations. But fortunately, Qiao Pengfei didn't owe any wages and paid all salaries on the same day. Due to the current situation, Qiao Pengfei didn't want to burden the employees. 3 months later, one day, while brushing his teeth, Qiao Pengfei heard a knock on the door. He was curious about who would visit at this time, so Qiao Pengfei went to open the door. Unexpectedly, he was greeted by the sight of a beautiful woman with long legs. Qiao Pengfei was stunned at this moment. In his memory, he didn't seem to know this beautiful woman in front of him. The beautiful woman standing at the door was also at a loss. She had just lost weight. How could he not recognize her? Qiao Pengfei quickly came to his senses, looking at her suspiciously. Then he tentatively asked, "Are you Qiao Xinxin?" He invited Qiao Xinxin in and couldn't help but ask how she had changed so much in just 3 months. Then Qiao Xinxin joked, "It's for you." This left Qiao Pengfei confused again. Then Qiao Xinxin asked in return, "How did you know?" Because Qiao Xinxin knew that Qiao Pengfei used to be overweight, but now he was so handsome. Qiao Pengfei didn't expect Qiao Xinxin to ask him this. It suddenly brought back memories of before he lost weight. He used to be quite chubby back then. But then Qiao Xinxin said, "When you were still in school, you were also a big guy, weighing nearly 200 pounds. So how did you lose weight?" Qiao Pengfei fell silent, not knowing how to answer. Qiao Pengfei said he fell in love at first sight with a girl. Yes, this girl was the current Qiao Xinxin, also known as Yun Minglei. He knew he was fat, but he wasn't willing to give up. He still wanted to try, to see if he could use his talent to impress the so-called campus goddess. At the bottom of the teaching building, he arranged candles to spell out, "Yun Minglei, I love you." And Qiao Pengfei himself played guitar and sang, trying to attract Yun Minglei's attention. Unexpectedly, Qiao Pengfei's good intentions were discovered by Yun Minglei's boyfriend, that scumbag. He immediately stomped on the candles Qiao Pengfei had arranged. Yun Minglei's boyfriend, Zhang Feng, who is now the murderer who killed Yun Minglei, also mocked Qiao Pengfei, saying he was too fat to have any right to like Yun Minglei. At that time, Yun Minglei didn't know her boyfriend's ambitions. So to avoid suspicion, she also persuaded Qiao Pengfei to give up, saying he indeed wasn't good enough for her at the moment. Qiao Pengfei immediately held his head in pain. He felt very insecure, not even having the courage to tell Yun Minglei his name. He only blamed himself for being so fat, for being so useless. Later, Qiao Pengfei worked out like crazy, not for anything else, just to prove a point. After losing weight, Qiao Pengfei became much more handsome, but he knew he still wasn't good enough for Yu Menwei. Qiao Xinxin immediately asked, "Do you still like her now? If heaven gave you another chance, would you choose Qiao Pengfei without hesitation?" The words were on the tip of Qiao Pengfei's tongue, but he couldn't say them. Qiao Xinxin immediately pulled out a magazine about Yun Minglei's accidental death. She sighed that liking her now was useless, only blaming herself for being blind back then. But after all, having a second chance at life, she wouldn't let Xiao Pengfei's deep feelings go to waste this time. Xiao Xinxin came to her senses, put her arm around Xiao Pengfei's shoulder, and said, "You still have me," trying to help him move on from these memories. Then Xiao Xinxin started to persuade the naive Xiao Pengfei again. She asked him to acquire her previous company, saying Zhang Feng clearly wasn't a good person. What if Yun Minglei's death was unjust? Xiao Pengfei was now very helpless. After careful consideration, he felt that what Xiao Xinxin said made sense. He immediately agreed to this matter. Seeing that things were successful, Xiao Xinxin also stated that they were now a power couple determined to dominate the live streaming world. Meanwhile, in the CEO's office, Zhang Feng was embracing Yun Minglei's best friend, doing who knows what. The best friend asked, was it true or false when Xiao Xinxin said Yun Minglei had a will? Zhang Feng replied nonchalantly, even if it's real, we can make it fake. Hearing a knock on the door, the two immediately stood up, pretending nothing had happened. The person who came and said that Feng Haihua had arrived. The three people who really killed Yun Minglei and Xiao Xinxin had actually gathered together. She didn't forget to seduce Zhang Feng even as she was leaving. After being exposed, the best friend couldn't refute. After all, this was the truth. If things got unpleasant, the whole company might find out. Then he asked his assistant to call Feng Haihua to the office. On the way, people around were discussing Feng Haihua. Some said she was their goddess, while others mentioned she looked quite different from her live streams. Seeing Feng Haihua arrive, Zhang Feng smiled and handed her a glass of water. Only he knew what he was plotting. What followed was a round of mutual business flattery. Feng Haihua then stated that if she were to join their company, they'd have to agree to one condition. Feng Haihua wanted 10% of the company's shares. This almost made Zhang Feng laugh. She was really overestimating herself. Zhang Feng smiled and said, even if you wanted me, I wouldn't hesitate. Then Zhang Feng walked to the bookshelf and took out a confidential file, handing it to Feng Haihua. After reading it, Feng Haihua's face immediately turned pale, and she broke out in a cold sweat. She didn't know what leverage Zhang Feng had discovered. It was probably about poisoning Xiao Xinxin. Zhang Feng smiled and said that as long as he was in this company, this secret would remain unknown. Sure enough, as expected, the matter had been exposed. Evidence of poisoning Xiao Xinxin had been discovered. At this moment, Feng Haihua's face was pale, not knowing what to do. Zhang Feng tore up the evidence in front of Feng Haihua, claiming it was to show his sincerity. Whether he had a backup or not, only he knew. He also threatened Feng Haihua, saying that as long as she obediently followed orders, this matter wouldn't be exposed. Zhang Feng reached out his lecherous hand. Feng Haihua tried to stop him, but Zhang Feng said if she wanted to be more popular in the live streaming world, she'd have to give more. While drinking red wine, he told Feng Haihua that next week there would be a movie premiere for a popular young actor, and he wanted to arrange for her to do a live stream. In the hall, Meng Meng was complaining to Xiao Xinxin about Bai Xiaodong's shameful behavior, saying how good Yu Minglei had been to her before, and now she was doing such things. Xiao Xinxin quickly agreed. Given the current situation, finding like-minded people wasn't easy. Then she whispered something in Meng Meng's ear. After hearing it, Meng Meng immediately slammed the table and shouted angrily. Seeing Meng Meng jump up from her chair, Xiao Xinxin quickly tried to calm her down, reminding her they were in a public place. Then she stated that she and Yun Minglei were best friends, and she must avenge Yun Minglei, making that scumbag couple pay the price. Then she encouraged Meng Meng to help her. The justice-minded Meng Meng immediately agreed to help, determined to make them pay, and telling Xiao Xinxin to let her know if she needed anything. On the other side, Xiao Pengfei was depressed again. He couldn't understand why Xiao Xinxin knew so much about Yun Minglei's affairs. In his memory, these two had never crossed paths. At this moment, Xiao Xinxin, having reached an agreement with Meng Meng, walked over to Xiao Pengfei. Seeing him lost in thought, she immediately asked what he was thinking about. Looking at the juice Xiao Pengfei had drunk on the table, she didn't mind. She picked it up and drank it directly. Xiao Pengfei wanted to tell her it was mango juice, and Xiao Xinxin was allergic to mangoes, but it was too late. She had finished it in a few gulps. Xiao Xinxin thought Xiao Pengfei was just being germophobic, forgetting her own mango allergy. Sure enough, drinking too much at once, she immediately passed out. Fortunately, Xiao Pengfei reacted quickly and supported Xiao Xinxin, preventing her from falling. Xiao Pengfei had no choice but to carry Xiao Xinxin back home. When she woke up, Xiao Xinxin was in a daze. When she saw her old photos placed by the bed, she immediately understood everything. Chow Pengfei's love for her was deep in his bones. Suddenly, she seemed to realize something. Chow Pengfei knew her so well, even about her mango allergy. Could it be that he had no feelings for her? Actually, thinking carefully, it wasn't that strange. After all, Chow Xinxin used to be a mukbang streamer, and Chow Pengfei was her manager. He must have learned from past experiences. But Chow Xinxin didn't realize this. She thought about testing his attitude towards her. She then prepared to seduce Chow Pengfei. After all, she wasn't as chubby as before. But he was still cooking and making soup, planning to nourish Chow Xinxin properly. Seeing that Chow Pengfei wasn't paying attention to her, Chow Xinxin decided to go further. Unexpectedly, she fell flat as he skillfully dodged her. Chow Xinxin was immediately stunned on the spot. Fortunately, Chow Pengfei promptly reminded her to come and drink some soup to nourish her body. He also mentioned that the doctor said her blood sugar was very low recently, so she should drink more chicken soup. But Chow Xinxin still didn't give up and continued to flirt with Chow Pengfei. When he heard Chow Xinxin ask if he liked her, Chow Pengfei immediately spat out the chicken soup he had just drunk. So he elegantly wiped his mouth and casually said he liked her the most. The persistent Chow Xinxin still said, "I mean like between a man and a woman." Chow Pengfei touched her forehead and said, "You're not having a fever. Why are you talking nonsense?" He also mentioned that since the last poisoning incident, her behavior had been abnormal. Chow Xinxin was speechless. Girls always have a bit of temper, so she pretended to be angry and walked away, telling Chow Pengfei to drink her chicken soup himself. Still not understanding the situation, Chow Pengfei said the chicken soup was really delicious, and she shouldn't neglect her health because of dieting. Even if Chow Xinxin had mental issues, he would take care of her for life. He still persistently tried to persuade Chow Xinxin, saying he would take her to the hospital for a checkup. Chow Xinxin proudly raised her little head and looked at him. She then retorted, "You're the one with problems. You're just emotionally dense. Is this how you react when a girl confesses to you?" Chow Xinxin then made an even bolder move, directly cornering Chow Pengfei against the wall. Chow Pengfei softly asked, "If I don't like you, will you be angry?" Chow Xinxin replied, "If you don't like me, then I'll forcefully kiss you." Chow Pengfei was immediately confused, wondering what was happening, who he was, and where he was. At this moment, thousands of thoughts flooded Chow Pengfei's mind, until he heard a knock on the door. Chow Pengfei rushed to the door in a hurry. Chow Xinxin, having achieved her goal, smiled. Now she was sure that Chow Pengfei didn't like Chow Xinxin. His heart only belonged to Yu Mengmei. As soon as the door opened, a tuft of yellow hair came into view. The visitor asked if Chow Xinxin lived here. Seeing the visitor, Chow Xinxin immediately jumped over and hugged him. Chow Pengfei was stunned. Didn't she just confess to him? How could she now be in someone else's arms? The visitor quickly pushed Chow Xinxin away, saying not to be so touchy-feely. Chow Xinxin whispered in his ear that she was Yu Menglei. She then explained to Chow Pengfei that this was her childhood friend. Chow Pengfei thought for a long time, but couldn't understand how Chow Xinxin had a childhood friend he didn't know about. Chow Xinxin covered the visitor's mouth and asked Chow Pengfei to cook 2 more dishes, saying she had something to discuss with him. Indeed, this childhood friend must have grown up being beaten by Yu Menglei. Chow Xinxin only needed to make a slight move for him to recognize that this was undoubtedly Yu Menglei. After all, they grew up together. Then he revealed a small secret that only Yu Menglei and he knew. He also disclosed that the yellow-haired guy had been dating since elementary school, and he knew exactly how many relationships he had been in. The yellow-haired guy immediately stopped him from revealing more. He also confirmed that the Chow Xinxin standing in front of him was indeed Yu Menglei, who grew up with him. When he was certain that the person before him was Yu Menglei, he hugged her and started crying. After so many years of friendship, learning about Yu Menglei's supposed accidental death must have been devastating. Now, knowing she was still alive, he cried tears of joy. Chow Xinxin, in her childhood friend's arms, was helpless and slowly began to recount her tragic experiences. After learning the truth, Yu Menglei's childhood friend was furious. He was determined to teach that scumbag couple a lesson and avenge Yu Menglei. So he took out his phone and called his assistant to arrange a mountain climbing trip with Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong. He probably wanted to get revenge for Yu Menglei. This action was stopped by Chow Xinxin. Her childhood friend thought she wanted to let it go, but it turned out she believed this was too simple. She wanted to take back everything they had taken from her one by one. She wanted that scumbag couple to know that Yu Yu Minglei wasn't someone they could mess with. This scared her childhood friend. Indeed, one should never provoke women and petty people. Suddenly, the mood changed. Xiao Xinxin started acting cute, speaking in a coy voice. "Little brother-in-law, please help me, okay?" Her childhood friend, still not used to this, was startled. He immediately waved his hands and said, "Did you eat something bad?" His expression was exactly the same as Qiao Pengfei's. Xiao Xinxin was speechless. Indeed, all men were the same. Fortunately, her childhood friend agreed to Xiao Xinxin's request. He asked how he could help. Xiao Xinxin replied that she wanted to become a top internet celebrity in his company. Her friend didn't understand, asking how this would help her reclaim what was rightfully hers. Indeed, one should never underestimate a woman's revenge. First, accumulate capital, sign a high-price contract with Nifeng Live, then frame and bring down Nifeng Live. Her friend immediately asked, "Wasn't Nifeng Live your previous business? What's the benefit of doing this?" Xiao Xinxin then answered that she wanted to take advantage of their bankruptcy, acquire Nifeng Live, and then kick that scumbag couple out. This scared her childhood friend, who exclaimed, "As expected of you, Mingwei, still so ruthless." So Xiao Xinxin firmly asked if he would help her. After all, there were only a few people she could trust now. Her childhood friend immediately agreed, saying no problem. How could I miss out on such an interesting event? It must be said that Qiao Pengfei was truly a good man. Not only was he talented in many ways, but his cooking skills were also first class. As soon as he finished cooking, he immediately called Xiao Xinxin and her friend to eat. Xiao Xinxin and her childhood friend walked over. Her friend immediately introduced himself, saying his name was Tsong Yi, the boss of Tsong Yi Entertainment and their future partner. Qiao Pengfei excitedly asked if they were going to sign a contract with Xiao Xinxin. Tsong Yi proudly said that every artist his company promoted became a top star. Qiao Pengfei hadn't quite processed this and puzzledly asked why they suddenly wanted to sign Xiao Xinxin. At this moment, Xiao Xinxin suddenly jumped in, explaining that they were childhood friends, so of course he would help her. Before Tsong, he could even take a bite of the hot meal. Xiao Xinxin pushed him out the door. She was afraid that during the meal, their conversation might reveal something that would expose her true identity as Yu Minglei. So she had no choice but to send Tsong Yi away. At this point, Qiao Pengfei seemed to be getting closer to the truth. After all, he had known Xiao Xinxin for so many years and had never heard of her having any childhood friends. After dressing up, Xiao Xinxin's aura improved significantly. She called Tsong Yi, wanting to borrow a few bodyguards from him. Tsong Yi was stunned for a moment, then asked why she needed bodyguards. Xiao Xinxin explained that she wanted to shatter the rice bowl of the freeloader, referring to her current boyfriend. Not only did she borrow bodyguards from Tsong Yi, but she also borrowed a senior lawyer from Qiao Pengfei's side. All this was to reclaim the handouts she had given to the freeloader over the years. Seeing the lawyer arrive, Xiao Xinxin was very happy and invited the lawyer in to discuss. She thought to herself, first solve the problem of this freeloader. A boyfriend picked up from the trash should be sent back to the trash. So Xiao Xinxin set off with bodyguards and a lawyer in a grand manner. After dressing up, Xiao Xinxin's aura was at its peak. It seemed she was planning to do something big. Xiao Xinxin arrived at her own doorstep and politely knocked on the door. A woman's response could be heard from inside. As expected, when the door opened, a woman in pajamas was seen inside her house, with an impatient expression on her face. The current Xiao Xinxin wouldn't tolerate her. She directly pushed her head with her hand. The woman who was pushed to the ground looked incredulous, wondering what was happening. Xiao Xinxin's so-called freeloader boyfriend also rushed out, shouting, "Who are you? Breaking into someone's home is illegal." Xiao Xinxin looked at this freeloader boyfriend as if he was an idiot and said mockingly, "The name on the property deed is Xiao Xinxin. You're so brazen about being a freeloader." The freeloader boyfriend looked incredulous, wondering how Xiao Xinxin had lost weight. It seemed they hadn't been in contact for several months. The lawyer hired by Xiao Xinxin directly showed the transfer records to the freeloader boyfriend. He demanded that the freeloader move out immediately and return all the previously transferred amounts, totaling 584,500 yuan. He also threatened that if they didn't comply, they would be sued and meet in court. So they decided to do something even more outrageous. They took out portable loudspeakers and shouted outside, asking everyone to remember the face of this scumbag. They stated that they would broadcast in shifts around the freeloader 24/7 until he agreed to leave. Xiao Xinxin also said she could make them trend on social media, letting them have their moment of fame and face nationwide criticism. This series of actions angered the freeloader boyfriend greatly, but he was helpless. Chow Peng-fei immediately said this tactic was quite shameless. Seeing the situation deteriorating, the freeloader boyfriend immediately knelt before Qiao Xinxin. He started playing the victim, trying to salvage the relationship and hoping Qiao Xinxin would forgive him for old times' sake. But he never expected that the current Qiao Xinxin was no longer the soft and gentle Qiao Xinxin from before. The pink-haired woman also sat up from the ground, shouting, "Lu Haichuan, you promised me that when Qiao Xinxin died, all of this would be ours." This woman was still dreaming of getting rich overnight. Lu Haichuan immediately distanced himself from her, hurriedly trying to explain to Qiao Xinxin. The response to Lu Haichuan was a cold shoe soul. Qiao Xinxin, who had already died once, couldn't possibly be fooled by such a low-level trick. She then said that seeing his face made her sick and lamented how she had picked up such trash and brought it home. So Qiao Xinxin, along with everyone else, kicked this scumbag couple out. Now Qiao Xinxin was radiant. In contrast, this scumbag couple, after being kicked out, probably wouldn't have an easy life ahead. The freeloader Lu Haichuan still threatened, telling Qiao Xinxin to wait and see. He would teach her a lesson. Chow Peng-fei immediately rushed over, standing in front of Qiao Xinxin, afraid she might do something excessive. His boyfriend power was off the charts. Qiao Xinxin gradually developed feelings for Chow Peng-fei. Back at Chow Peng-fei's home, everyone raised their glasses to celebrate Qiao Xinxin successfully dumping the scumbag and starting a new life. Suddenly, Chow Peng-fei's phone rang. It turned out he had secretly investigated Song Yi and discovered that Song Yi was Yu Menglei's good friend. Because he noticed that since Qiao Xinxin was poisoned, she seemed like a different person, becoming very unfamiliar. Qiao Xinxin seemed to suddenly realize something. She rushed directly into Chow Peng-fei's study. As expected, it was discovered that Chow Peng-fei was secretly investigating her. Chow Peng-fei became suspicious. At this moment, Chow Peng-fei also came from behind, intending to check if Qiao Xinxin was alright. After all, she had drunk so much alcohol. At this time, Qiao Xinxin started acting cute again. She pretended to be pitiful and innocent, leaving Chow Peng-fei at a loss. Song Yi also gave Qiao Xinxin an okay signal. Seeing that Chow Peng-fei didn't react, Qiao Xinxin became even more outrageous, desperately leaning on Chow Peng-fei. Song Yi also helped on the side, expressing great sympathy for Yu Menglei's tragic experience. He had a loving family and a steadily rising career, but now he lost his career and became that scumbag. Fortunately, their acting skills were good enough to temporarily deceive Chow Peng-fei, but they knew this couldn't last long. At this moment, Qiao Xinxin began her live streaming journey again. She explained to her audience and fans that she had been absent from streaming due to illness. The comments were full of praise for Qiao Xinxin, saying she looked beautiful after losing weight and could even debut as a celebrity. This made her very pleased. Qiao Xinxin's sudden transformation also caught her fans off guard, changing from a mukbang streamer to one sharing American cooking methods. This kept Chow Peng-fei extremely busy. After all, Qiao Xinxin was just doing mukbangs before, but now she was cooking herself. Cooking was one thing, but she even made Chow Peng-fei do the dishes. Who knows how long he could keep this up? Qiao Xinxin blew a kiss to Chow Peng-fei. Chow Peng-fei was helpless, unable to do anything about this troublemaker he was stuck with. Gritting his teeth, he said that next time Qiao Xinxin should clean up after cooking. Qiao Xinxin didn't care. She thought that next time she would just act cute in front of him again, and Chow Peng-fei's heart would soften, and he would continue to wash the dishes. At this moment, Qiao Xinxin was lying on the sofa, scrolling through her phone, looking at news about herself. Suddenly seeing the words "stunning beauty" in the headline, her mood improved even more. At this time, Chow Peng-fei received a call from the company, requiring him to return for a meeting, so he rushed over in a hurry. All the shareholders had arrived, just waiting for Chow Peng-fei to come. The meeting was about Qiao Xinxin's live streaming transformation. Because he hadn't consulted with the major shareholders in time, they were all holding back their anger. Chow Peng-fei still argued reasonably, stating that Qiao Xinxin did nothing wrong and this transformation was beneficial for the company. One of the shareholders spoke up, saying there was no data to support this and questioned who would be responsible if the audience and fans didn't accept this sudden transformation. Chow Peng-fei said he would take responsibility for all consequences. If Qiao Xinxin were present, she would probably have an even better impression of Qiao Pengfei, as he was strongly supporting her. Then Qiao Pengfei took out the agreement Xiao Xinxin signed with Song E Entertainment. Xiao Xinxin would debut as an artist under Song E Entertainment. Seeing that the shareholders weren't convinced, he also presented data from Xiao Xinxin's streaming platform and today's hot search topics to show that Xiao Xinxin's transformation was accepted by the audience and fans. He then stated that he could see higher commercial value in Xiao Xinxin, asking if the shareholders weren't tempted. None of the present shareholders came forward to refute. After a moment of silence, one shareholder said they would give them a year. If the commercial value increased, they would provide better resources. If not, both Qiao Pengfei and Xiao Xinxin would have to leave. Qiao Pengfei confidently agreed. Seeing that the matter was settled, Qiao Pengfei breathed a sigh of relief. However, the urgent task now was to restart the studio. On the other side, when Fang Hairua heard that Xiao Xinxin had returned and signed with Song E Entertainment, she was immediately furious. This meant that her opponent had become even stronger. At this moment, Fang Hairua had lost his reason. He believed that if Xiao Xinxin left Qiao Pengfei, he would be nothing. So he had people investigate Qiao Pengfei's background. After all, this wasn't the first time he'd done such a thing. The assistant handed Qiao Pengfei a pile of endorsements, asking which one Xiao Xinxin should endorse first. Qiao Pengfei asked Xiao Xinxin what type of endorsement she wanted to take on. Seeing she didn't respond, he called Xiao Xinxin's name again. Xiao Xinxin snapped back to reality and told Qiao Pengfei to choose himself, since they didn't even have money to reorganize the studio. Qiao Pengfei carefully looked at the endorsements the assistant handed over, finding they were all low-end endorsements. He knew Xiao Xinxin was going to debut as an artist later, so she couldn't just endorse anything casually. While Qiao Pengfei was hesitating, Xiao Xinxin said she wanted an endorsement from one company. Hearing that Xiao Xinxin wanted to endorse something from Fang Hairua's portfolio, he said this endorsement would be hard to get. So Xiao Xinxin started playing the victim again, saying she wasn't resigned to it. He almost took her life, but she could only be bullied. This made Qiao Pengfei feel very sorry for her. Qiao Pengfei still said that this brand was notoriously difficult to deal with. Xiao Xinxin then used her reverse psychology, saying if it was too difficult, forget it, that she was being narrow-minded. Xiao Xinxin was too good at this, making Qiao Pengfei act like a nanny. Qiao Pengfei immediately said he would try, but couldn't guarantee success. The assistant was stunned, marveling at how skillful Xiao Xinxin was, easily manipulating Qiao Pengfei. Xiao Xinxin was secretly delighted. Qiao Pengfei, was indeed a straight man, and straight men don't appreciate subtleties. Qiao Pengfei found the executive of that endorsement company and discussed giving Xiao Xinxin the endorsement meant for Fang Hairua. Fortunately, the executive of that company was also a friend of Qiao Pengfei. Sure enough, Qiao Pengfei's visit meant trouble. The executive spat out the milk he had just drunk. He immediately stated that his brand was a luxury brand, not something anyone could endorse. But Qiao Pengfei remained calm, saying Xiao Xinxin's successful weight loss fit their brand concept perfectly, and her popularity was no less than Fang Hairua's. The executive thought for a moment and felt that giving it to Xiao Xinxin was indeed better than Fang Hairua, as it was a better fit. So he hurriedly went back to the company to report to the boss. When Fang Hairua learned that Xiao Xinxin had snatched the product endorsement position, he couldn't hide the anger in his eyes. He angrily threw away his newly bought phone and vowed to teach Xiao Xinxin a lesson. At this moment, Qiao Pengfei didn't know that his ordeal was about to begin. Suddenly, Qiao Pengfei seemed to be blinded by the high beams of an oncoming vehicle and hurriedly covered his eyes. These two trucks happened to crash into Qiao Pengfei's car. Bystanders around quickly took out their phones to call the police, reporting a car accident. Upon hearing the news, Xiao Xinxin immediately rushed to the hospital. As soon as she entered, she saw Qiao Pengfei lying on the bed with an foredrip. Qiao Pengfei asked why she came. Xiao Xinxin replied that with him in this state, how could she not come? This sentence immediately made Qiao Pengfei feel much better. He also noted that today's Xiao Xinxin seemed different from usual. On Xiao Xinxin's side, someone told her that her phone had been hacked, probably Fang Hairua's doing again. The phone was filled with negative news about Xiao Xinxin, saying she used to be so fat, wondering if she had plastic surgery. Xiao Xinxin was unfazed, thinking this was all Fang Hairua could come up with. It's nothing special. Upon hearing the news, Chao Pingfei said he wanted to go back immediately to deal with this matter. But Xiao Xingxing told him to rest well. He can't even get out of bed, so there's no need to worry about so many things. She can handle it herself. She also asked Chao Pingfei to recover well, and she would take care of everything else. The next day, Xiao Xinxin prepared a lot of food to visit Chao Pingfei. This made him very happy, feeling that all he had done was not in vain. When she saw the surgery notice on the table, she comforted Chao Pingfei. She told Chao Pingfei to take good care of himself during this time. So Xiao Xinxin stood by the bed, watching Chao Pingfei drink the soup she made to the last drop. She was satisfied and muttered softly, "Eat more, get ready for the operating table." The more Chao Pingfei heard, the more uneasy he felt. It sounded like Xiao Xinxin was talking about pigs in a slaughterhouse. Suddenly, a phone ring broke the silence. The person on the other end shouted at Xiao Xinxin, "It's an emergency. Why aren't you back at the company yet?" Seeing her pitiful expression, Chao Pingfei couldn't help but laugh. Upon learning that Xiao Xinxin's negative news was exposed, she was being criticized online by trolls. But it's not really a big deal. She was just a bit chubby before, but now she's successfully lost weight. However, the company's shareholders couldn't sit still. Xiao Xinxin looked indifferent, saying to let nature take its course. Taking Feng Herua's endorsement and facing retaliation was inevitable. Being a public figure isn't easy, but this will pass. But the shareholders didn't think so. Seeing Xiao Xinxin's nonchalant attitude, they became furious. In contrast, Xiao Xinxin ignored them completely, making the shareholder look like a clown. The investigation Xiao Xinxin requested also yielded results. Chao Pingfei's accident was indeed planned by Feng Heirua. This was unforgivable to anyone, let alone Xiao Xinxin. She prepared to counterattack and teach Feng Heirua a lesson. A sudden reprimand interrupted her thoughts. It turned out to be her little fan, who was defending her online but got scolded by the boss. The boss said, "I hired you to work, not to defend Xiao Xinxin. Does Xiao Xinxin even know who you are?" The poor little fan was reprimanded by the supervisor and lost their job. But Xiao Xinxin wouldn't stand by and do nothing. Xiao Xinxin approached the little fan and invited them to join her studio. The dejected little fan suddenly became excited. Yes, that voice was Xiao Xinxin, their idol. The little fan thought they were dreaming. They couldn't believe they actually met their idol, and the idol invited them to work together. In an instant, all the previous unpleasantness was left behind. The little fan immediately agreed, nodding frantically. It was so intense that Xiao Xinxin wondered if she had recruited an idiot. On the other side, Song, he wasn't idle either. Knowing someone was bad-mouthing his childhood friend online, he counterattacked and stopped it in time. Fortunately, the impact wasn't too big. Song, he was also imagining how Xiao Xinxin would thank him after knowing he helped her. Maybe she would beat him up as a way of showing gratitude. Xiao Xinxin brought her little fan to the temporary studio. After all, they were short on funds and didn't have a good office space. Xiao Xinxin immediately explained her current predicament. The little fan said they understood and would start countering the negative comments right away. Everything was fine before opening the computer. After opening the computer, they couldn't hold it together anymore. They found that the entire internet was criticizing their idol. So they thought about mobilizing bystanders to counter the negativity together. A familiar knock on the door sounded again. The little fan's comment about a tiger fallen to the plains directly broke Xiao Xinxin's composure. The visitor was none other than the #1 straight man, Chao Pingfei. Because he was really worried about Xiao Xinxin, he snuck out of the hospital and rushed straight to her place. Xiao Xinxin asked, "Did you sneak out?" When Xiao Xinxin's little fans saw that the visitor was the celebrity manager Chao Pingfei, they jumped up from their chair. They expressed how lucky they were to work with their idol and be colleagues with an industry benchmark. This was like a dream come true. Chao Pingfei, unaware of the situation, stood there stunned, looking at the little fan as if they were crazy. He asked Xiao Xinxin who this person was. Xiao Xinxin explained that this was her newly recruited publicity staff. Then, Xiao Xinxin helped Chao Pingfei sit on the sofa. It was unclear whether Xiao Xinxin was genuinely cunning or pretending. She directly threw herself onto Chao Pingfei. The little fan watching from the side was extremely excited, thinking that Xinxin finally had someone to take care of her. Immediately after, the two stood up, acting as if nothing had happened. Chao Pingfei asked if they needed to send a lawyer's letter to warn those haters and trolls. Xiao Xinxin waved her hand, saying she had already thought of a countermeasure. Xiao Xinxin then started a live stream, openly admitting that she used to be fat. But she wasn't ashamed of it. Instead, she liked her former self and also likes her current self. You can criticize yourself for not being smart enough, but you can't criticize yourself for your body's shape. I don't want to live in others' perspectives. Women can be independent and strong. Don't care about others' opinions. Be yourself. After Qiao Xinxin's speech, all fans expressed their agreement with her viewpoint. They also started to counterattack those haters. The little fan immediately used their previously learned editing skills to edit the content of Qiao Xinxin's live stream and distribute it to all platforms. Chao Pengfei received a phone call informing him that Qiao Xinxin's speech had gone viral, with the video receiving over 1 million likes. On Feng Hairuo's side, because the attempt to smear Qiao Xinxin had failed, she berated her subordinates for their incompetence, raging impotently. After scolding her subordinates, she made threats, saying she would make Qiao Xinxin pay. Chao Pengfei then received an official call, saying that the perpetrator had been found. He was paid to do it, and the mastermind would be found soon. They told Chao Pengfei to be patient. Chao Pengfei was puzzled, saying he was innocent and hadn't affected anyone's interests, so why would someone want to harm him? Qiao Xinxin wasn't planning to let Feng Hairuo off the hook. As long as they found evidence of Feng Hairuo's harmful actions, she would be successfully eliminated. At this moment, Qiao Xinxin seemed to remember something and asked the little fan if they had any marketing accounts. Upon learning that the little fan's marketing account had 100,000 followers, she looked pleased. The little fan immediately asked if they were going to reveal some information. Qiao Xinxin said it wasn't necessary for now. It wasn't time yet. Feng Yi was self-satisfied, thinking that helping Qiao Xinxin turn the tide was his achievement. He probably had already thought about what reward he wanted, but reality gave him a harsh wake-up call. Song Yi, unaware of the truth, was also showing off. The assistant came over to tell Song Yi that the cyberbullying started right after their intervention. Reality also gave him a hard slap. Song Yi arrogantly said, "Mind your own business. What do you know?" Back on track, the assistant had found out that the mastermind was Feng Hairuo. Song Yi was still thinking that Feng Hairuo was just an ordinary internet celebrity. How could she have such great power? But the assistant revealed that Feng Hairuo was the mistress of a certain company's CEO, and the newly signed Nifeng Live was also one of the masterminds behind this. Song Yi put aside his usual joking manner and said that since Feng Hairuo had such a background, they should make her lose both reputation and fortune. Song Yi also started to tattle. Coincidentally, Song Yi happened to know the CEO's wife and secretly went to tell her. He said that his subordinates saw her husband getting very close to Feng Hairuo, enjoying the drama. Song Yi added fuel to the fire, saying, "In families like ours, who doesn't have these kinds of issues? Sister Yuan, don't take it to heart." This infuriated Sister Yuan, who almost crushed her wine glass. Undeniably, Song Yi's actions were truly ruthless. Sister Yuan quickly rushed to Feng Hairuo's workplace. The receptionist apologized to Feng Hairuo, saying she couldn't stop the person who looked furious. Feng Hairuo was actually panicking inside. After all, she had done too many shameful things. Sister Yuan walked directly up to Feng Hairuo. She introduced herself as the legal wife of Feng's lover, the wife of Xinyuan's CEO, and the largest shareholder of Xinyuan. She immediately threw a lawyer's letter in Feng Hairuo's face, demanding the return of all expenses previously paid for her, as every penny was marital property. Feng Hairuo gritted her teeth and responded that it was all a misunderstanding. They were just ordinary friends. However, Sister Yuan wouldn't believe her lies. She immediately pulled out evidence and threw it in front of her. She told Feng Hairuo to be careful, return the money, and stay away from her husband. Otherwise, Feng Hairuo would have to change her career. Before leaving, Sister Yuan didn't forget to humiliate Feng Hairuo, thanking her for the services provided to her husband. Feng Hairuo had no choice at this point. She had to swallow her pride. It was her fault for doing such shameful things, which gave Qiao Xinxin an opportunity, directly retaliating against Feng Hairuo. This was much bigger news than Qiao Xinxin's. If not handled well, Feng Hairuo might become a public enemy. Qiao Xinxin, crossing her legs, mocked, "What taste does that so have to like a woman like Feng Hairuo?" Seeing Chao Pengfei preparing to apply medicine himself, Qiao Xinxin immediately offered to help, but he repeatedly refused. Qiao Xinxin grabbed the medicine and directly pressed it on Chao Pengfei's calf. The pain almost made his soul leave his body. At this time, Qiao Xinxin said that things were almost over and told Qiao Pengfei to return to the hospital to recover properly. But Qiao Pengfei said no. It wasn't over yet, he wanted to stay with her. Qiao Xinxin expressed confusion, asking Qiao Pengfei why. Qiao Pengfei explained that as things progress, cyberbullied celebrities are more likely to commit suicide. He was worried and said this was when she needed companionship the most. Qiao Xinxin stood there stunned, betrayed by her boyfriend, framed by her best friend, and now there was someone who considered her at every turn, thinking about her. Her eyes couldn't help but moisten. In the Nifeng Live building, Zhang Feng said that Miss Feng's reputation wasn't good lately. Feng Hao responded that it was just temporary and would pass eventually. But Zhang Feng didn't believe Feng Hao's lies. Temporary? This temporary situation had already caused significant losses for the company. Feng Hao immediately said she would help earn it back eventually. Zhang Feng got angry, saying this internet celebrity gala was her last chance. If she failed, their cooperation would end. Feng Hao didn't expect Zhang Feng to be so ruthless, but circumstances forced her, and she had no choice but to agree. Feng Hao also said this was truly her last resort. Arriving at the gala venue, the host was introducing everyone, and the audience was cheering continuously. Previously, Feng Hao was number one. This year's dark horse is the representative of independent women, Qiao Xinxin, while the audience was continuously booing, discussing Feng Hao's exposed affair. They're all thousand-year-old foxes. Why play strange stories from a Chinese studio? Is Feng Hao a good person? In the dressing room, Qiao Xinxin, who had just entered, heard Feng Hao's mocking voice, teasing her about still being comfortably plump. The current Qiao Xinxin wouldn't tolerate her bad behavior. She responded, "Sister Hao, your chin has become sharper. People might think you're the one who tied up Calabash Brothers," implying that Feng Hao looked like a snake spirit. Realizing this, Feng Hao slammed the table and shouted, "You're the snake spirit, a few months apart, and you've become so sharp-tongued." She also accused Qiao Xinxin of having an unclear relationship with Qiao Pengfei. Qiao Xinxin was unfazed, sarcastically saying, "Sister you'd better spend your energy thinking about how to chase rich merchants." Unable to out-talk Qiao Xinxin, Feng Hao became furious and raised her hand to hit Qiao Xinxin. At the critical moment, Qiao Pengfei, who had just arrived, stood in front of Qiao Xinxin, stopping Feng Hao's action. Qiao Xinxin looked at the newcomer, her eyes full of affection. Qiao Pengfei also stated that Qiao Xinxin was his person and asked Miss Feng to restrain herself. Suddenly, Feng Hao's assistant walked to her ear, whispering something. It was probably about reporters waiting outside. After hearing this, Feng Hao thought of another poisonous plan to frame Qiao Xinxin and Qiao Hongfei. Feng Hao violently slapped herself, giving herself a big slap. It seemed quite forceful, even leaving a handprint. Undeniably, Feng Hao was quite determined to frame Qiao Xinxin. At this time, Feng Hao pretended to feel dizzy, unable to stand steadily. But this could better frame Qiao Xinxin. TV station reporters gradually arrived. Sure enough, when the reporters saw Feng Hao's state and noticed the handprint on her face, they were stunned. Qiao Xinxin and Qiao Pengfei also came out upon hearing the commotion. So Feng Hao pretended to be pitiful in front of the reporters. She acted innocent, saying she had no issues with Qiao Xinxin and that the handprint on her face was accidentally self-inflicted. Isn't this clearly a case of the lady doth protest too much? Viewers in the live stream also started speculating, saying it was obviously Qiao Xinxin who hit her. They said she became arrogant as soon as she got famous. The reporter seemed to think of something and said, "Let's go to the dressing room and have a look." Feng Hao's manager also seized on this incident, trying to use it to frame Qiao Xinxin. Meanwhile, Feng Hao herself was pretending to be innocent and pitiful on the side, asking him not to say more. This was truly a masterful performance of playing the victim. Qiao Xinxin couldn't stand it anymore and said that she didn't hit Feng Hao. The manager retorted, "If you didn't hit her, are you saying our Hao hit herself?" Well, actually that's exactly what Feng Hao did. Qiao Pengfei also helped, asking, "Isn't it obvious that she hit herself?" The surrounding reporters and crowd started discussing among themselves. A young fan who had just arrived, not knowing the situation, asked people around what happened. Someone nearby responded that Feng Hao was hit by Qiao Xinxin, and it was caught on the live interview. The young fans still supported Qiao Xinxin, believing she wouldn't do such a thing. They were sure Feng Hao was framing her, vowing to defend their idol to the death. Suddenly remembering their small camera was still on, they thought it might have captured the scene. Fong Hara wouldn't give them a chance and pretended to accidentally drop and break the camera. She sarcastically said that she accidentally broke the camera. The young fan, realizing what happened, couldn't hold back. They wanted to look better than Fong Hara. People nearby tightly held onto the young fan, fearing they might do something extreme. Chow Pengfei, seeing the situation developing unfavorably for Qiao Xinxin, made an important decision. In front of everyone, he said he was the one who hit Fong Hairuo, telling Qiao Xinxin not to cover for him. It was because of the car accident a few days ago that was related to Fong Hairuo. He hit her in a moment of anger. Chow Pengfei apologized to everyone on camera, saying it was all his responsibility and asking people not to harm Qiao Xinxin. Qiao Xinxin couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe Chow Pengfei would take the fall for her. If not handled well, it could ruin his future life. He was risking his future to pave the way for Qiao Xinxin. Fong Hairuo also didn't expect Chow Pengfei to go to such lengths for Qiao Xinxin, willing to risk his future to help her. Fong Hairuo still didn't give up at this point, wanting to continue framing Qiao Xinxin. Just then, the young fan took out their computer, saying the camera automatically stored footage in the cloud. Sure enough, it clearly showed Fong Hairuo hitting herself. Now Fong Hairuo had dug her own grave. The surrounding crowd's condemnation quickly reversed. They couldn't believe they witnessed such drama and demanded Fong Hairuo be banned. Fong Hairuo was now on the verge of collapse, still trying to defend herself. With evidence right in front of her, she still wouldn't admit it. Once confirmed, she would be completely finished. At this moment, Yuan Yuanjia walked behind Fong Hairuo and pretended to accidentally trip her. Both of them fell. Yuan Yuanjia, whether intentionally or not, took the opportunity to scatter photos of Fong Hairuo's affair with her husband everywhere. They were almost thrown in the reporters' faces. The surrounding crowd gathered around. Seeing Fong Hairuo's indecent behavior, they had previously thought it was made up. They didn't expect these photos to fall from Yuan Yuanjia's hands. Seeing that her plan had succeeded, Yuan Yuanjia put aside her usual domineering attitude and pretended to be pitiful in front of the cameras. She claimed her husband had an affair and Fong Hairuo wanted to marry him. Now Fong Hairuo couldn't clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. After speaking, Yuan Yuanjia ran out crying. It's unclear if it was real or fake crying. If it was fake, her acting skills were excellent. Indeed, her wicked smile before leaving confirmed that everything was premeditated. At this point, Song also came out. He and Yuan Yuanjia nodded to each other, confirming that this mission had been well accomplished. After Fong Hairuo fell, her face was distorted. Netizens were excited to witness another big drama. It seemed the rumors about Fong Hairuo's plastic surgery were true. She was truly the #1 internet celebrity green tea. Fong Hairuo now covered her face and ran out. She had no face left to attend the ceremony. Meanwhile, Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong were being affectionate on the side, not hiding at all. Qiao Xinxin grew angrier the more she watched. Song Yi suggested they leave quickly to avoid dirtying their eyes. But Qiao Xinxin had a bright idea. Why leave when they were the ones being disgusting? Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong walked towards Qiao Xinxin, not realizing she was Yunming Lei. Bai Xiaodong enthusiastically greeted Qiao Xinxin. Qiao Xinxin said she had something to discuss with Zhang Feng. Bai Xiaodong's gaze was fixed on Qiao Xinxin, asking what she wanted to discuss. She was clearly jealous. Zhang Feng said he was just wondering how to solve something and wanted to hear Qiao Xinxin's thoughts. He took her to a quiet place to discuss. Watching Zhang Feng and Qiao Xinxin leave, Bai Xiaodong was grinding her teeth in anger. But she could do nothing and could only stare helplessly. Zhang Feng shamelessly walked to Qiao Xinxin's side. She felt disgusted. Qiao Xinxin then stated that the police had evidence against Fong Hairuo. Fong Hairuo would soon be sent to prison and would find it hard to make a comeback. It would be better to abandon Fong Hairuo. Let me replace her in joining Nifeng live streaming, as long as I get the same treatment as Fong Hairuo. Zhang Feng asked Qiao Xinxin why she wanted to help him. This was just Zhang Feng overthinking. Qiao Xinxin couldn't wait to destroy him. How could she be helping? It was just for her own purposes. So she made up a random reason. She said she just wanted to trample Fong Hairuo underfoot. So, Zhang Feng and Qiao Xinxin reached a temporary cooperation. Qiao Xinxin indicated that the first step of her revenge path had succeeded. Sure enough, the police had obtained evidence and took Fong Hairuo away. Nifeng also terminated their cooperation with Fong Hairuo. At Nifeng Live Streaming's public event, Qiao Xinxin announced that she had joined Nifeng. The surrounding crowd echoed that Qiao Xinxin was loyal, indeed returning to Nifeng Live Streaming. Bai Xiaodong couldn't sit still anymore and directly barged into Zhang Feng's office. She rushed right up to Zhang Feng. This delighted Qiao Xinxin. This was exactly how to sow discord, letting them turn against each other first. Qiao Xinxin teasingly said, "Oh, could this be Mr. Zhang's girlfriend?" Just as Bai Xiaodong was about to say she was Zhang Feng's girlfriend, Zhang Feng interrupted her in time, saying he and Bai Xiaodong were just business partners. Qiao Xinxin sarcastically remarked that Bai Xiaodong was far inferior to Zhang's previous girlfriend, Yunming Lei. How could Mr. Zhang be interested in such a woman? Bai Xiaodong was furious. Qiao Xinxin's words had completely enraged her. Qiao Xinxin dodged Bai Xiaodong's attack and pushed her to the ground. At this point, Zhang Feng came out and told her to stop making trouble, clearly siding with Qiao Xinxin. Indeed, Zhang Feng was still the same person who liked the new and tired of the old. Seeing Bai Xiaodong's discomfort, Qiao Xinxin was very pleased and enthusiastically bid them farewell. At this point, Qiao Xinxin already owned 20% of Nifeng Live Streaming shares. Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong, you won't last much longer. So Bai Xiaodong made threats. It's worth noting that the last person who made threats had already been taken away by the police. In the underground parking garage, Bai Xiaodong threatened Zhang Feng, saying she knew everything he had done and they could go down together if necessary. Zhang Feng claimed that he and Qiao Xinxin were just business partners, and that Bai Xiaodong was his true love. "You must believe me. How could I betray you?" Zhang Feng truly lived up to being a top-tier scumbag. What Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong didn't know was that their every move had been recorded, and the person doing it seemed to know Qiao Xinxin. Qiao Xinxin started her live stream. During the stream, she showcased her newly made home-cooked dishes, saying that although they were ordinary, she had her own unique way of making them. Watching Qiao Xinxin's first contracted live stream, the comments were full of praise. When the young fan saw their idol Qiao Xinxin at the top again, they were more excited than if they were at the top themselves. Meanwhile, Ming Ming and Chao Pengfei met up. This confused Chao Pengfei, making it seem like a secret agent rendezvous. He asked Ming Ming if Qiao Xinxin had contacted her. Ming Ming replied with a naive expression. Yes. Chao Pengfei hurriedly asked Ming Ming when she came to find her. Ming Ming felt his tone was a bit urgent and quickly replied it was yesterday. Yesterday, Qiao Xinxin had asked her about Zhang Feng's schedule. Chao Pengfei wondered why Qiao Xinxin wanted to know about Zhang Feng's schedule and what happened yesterday. Looking at how close they seemed, if Chao Pengfei knew the truth, he certainly wouldn't think that way. As if suddenly realizing something, Chao Pengfei immediately stood up and quickly walked out, leaving Ming Ming confused. Zhang Feng began to court Qiao Xinxin, inviting her to dinner that evening. Qiao Xinxin thought to herself, "I was afraid you wouldn't take the bait." Zhang Feng also had ulterior motives. Thinking that Qiao Xinxin had Yunming Lei's will, he couldn't let it go just like that. He made an excuse saying, "Everyone has a love for beauty. I've been attracted by you, Qiao Xinxin." Qiao Xinxin could barely hold it in. She almost threw up. How could there be such a disgusting person? Chao Pengfei, who had rushed over, pushed away Zhang Feng's hand from Qiao Xinxin's shoulder. He said she had other activities and needed to leave. Qiao Xinxin hadn't reacted yet, thinking to herself, "I don't have any activities." Chao Pengfei grabbed Qiao Xinxin's hand and quickly left Zhang Feng. Qiao Xinxin asked him what happened. He said nothing was wrong. Qiao Xinxin replied that he didn't seem fine. Chao Pengfei insisted nothing was wrong. It was obvious to anyone that he was jealous. Back home, Qiao Xinxin cursed, saying Zhang Feng was good for nothing except living off women. Qiao Xinxin applied makeup in front of the mirror, complaining, "That stupid Zhang Feng, he thinks he can control me." Well, don't blame me for playing along with the scheme. The familiar doorbell rang. It was Chao Pengfei. Qiao Xinxin asked him what he wanted. Chao Pengfei solemnly said, telling Qiao Xinxin not to have dinner with Zhang Feng. His jealousy was more than obvious. Qiao Xinxin teased Chao Pengfei, asking why. Was he jealous? Unable to face his own feelings, Chao Pengfei quickly shook his head, saying he wouldn't be jealous of her. Zhang Feng wasn't a good person. Qiao Xinxin came to her senses and said she knew what she was doing. Seeing that he couldn't persuade her, Chao Pengfei responded, saying they were trying to acquire Nifeng live streaming. But he felt that now she seemed more like she was trying to climb the ladder by getting close to Zhang Feng. Chao Pengfei grabbed her wrist and advised her. Given time, she would surely become a top streamer. Why did she have to do this? Chao Xinxin seemed to have something she couldn't say. Not wanting to argue with Chao Pengfei, she said she would explain to him later. Chao Pengfei stood in front of Chao Xinxin, blocking her from leaving. With no choice, Chao Xinxin explained that to get Nifeng live streaming, she had to fully understand Zhang Feng. Chao Xinxin stated that Yun Minglei's death was related to Zhang Feng. She was getting close to him to investigate this matter and gather sufficient evidence. Only then could she completely bring down Zhang Feng. Chao Pengfei apologized to Chao Xinxin, saying he was too impulsive earlier. He was afraid she would be tricked because Zhang Feng wasn't a good person. Chao Xinxin gently responded, saying she understood his feelings and asked him to trust her. After getting a positive answer, Chao Pengfei promised without hesitation to help Chao Xinxin. Chao Xinxin teased Chao Pengfei again, asking if she could leave now. Chao Pengfei had no choice. He said she could, but she must be careful. Chao Xinxin turned back with a smile, giving an affirmative response. Someone secretly took photos of Chao Xinxin meeting with Zhang Feng, planning to send them to Bai Xiaodong. When Bai Xiaodong found out, she was furious. Smash! Another phone was damaged. She stormed into Zhang Feng's office. Holding the photos, she questioned Zhang Feng, saying if she hadn't come, who knows what would have happened. Zhang Feng tried to coax and deceive her, saying Chao Xinxin had a collaboration with the company. She invited him, and he had to go. But he only had Bai Xiaodong in his heart. Bai Xiaodong seemed to believe what Zhang Feng said, but she didn't forget to threaten him, saying if he did anything to betray her, they would go down together. She would reveal the truth about Yun Minglei's death to everyone. Zhang Feng appeared to give in, trying his best to please her. But in his heart, he thought differently. As long as Bai Xiaodong was around, that secret would eventually be exposed. Bai Xiaodong also held a grudge against Chao Xinxin, saying she would teach her a lesson. Bai Xiaodong pointed at Chao Xinxin and shouted, telling her to stay away from Zhang Feng, or she'd be in trouble. Chao Xinxin laughed, saying, "You're not worthy of self-respect." She mocked, "I heard Zhang Feng was your friend Yun Minglei's boyfriend. How come he became your boyfriend right after she died? You should learn the meaning of self-respect." Bai Xiaodong knew this was true and couldn't refute Chao Xinxin. She could only swallow her anger. Chao Xinxin prepared to complain to Zhang Feng, wanting to make Zhang Feng and Bai Xiaodong fight so she could gather evidence more easily. Zhang Feng asked her what happened and why she was crying. Chao Xinxin cried, saying Bai Xiaodong told her to stay away from him. Zhang Feng became anxious and quickly asked, "Or else what?" Chao Xinxin responded, "Or else she'd do to me what you did to Meng Lei." After hearing this, Zhang Feng was terrified, breaking out in a cold sweat. In his heart, he cursed Bai Xiaodong for revealing such a secret out of jealousy for Chao Xinxin. Zhang Feng, coming to his senses, comforted Chao Xinxin, saying Bai Xiaodong was just trying to scare her out of jealousy. Yun Minglei's death was an accident, and he had nothing to do with it. Chao Xinxin almost laughed out loud, thinking if she wasn't actually Yun Minglei, she might have believed his lies. Zhang Feng made a tough decision, saying Bai Xiaodong couldn't appear here anymore, or they'd all be finished soon. Chao Xinxin substituted for Feng Haro, live streaming with a popular young actor. In the audience, someone who might have been a crazy fan saw Chao Xinxin standing with their beloved idol. They became furious, secretly cursing Chao Xinxin as a bitch. At this time, the press conference was about to start, and the live stream was almost over. Just as the two were saying goodbye, the crazy fan from earlier threw a drink at Chao Xinxin. Chao Xinxin was caught off guard and got soaked. As another bubble tea was about to be thrown at her, Chao Pengfei rushed over at the critical moment. Just as it was about to hit her, Chao Pengfei caught the bubble tea, preventing Chao Xinxin from being embarrassed in public. Chao Xinxin looked at Chao Pengfei, feeling more affection for him. The crazy fan rushed onto the stage, saying, "Chao Xinxin, why are you so close to my idol?" and was about to hit her. But Chao Xinxin wouldn't let them off easily. She grabbed their wrist and performed a shoulder throw, shocking everyone. Chao Pengfei secretly marveled, thinking such strength must have taken years of practice. He remembered that Chao Xinxin couldn't participate in any intense activities due to a knee injury, which added to his suspicions. Song Yi, standing nearby, laughed so hard his stomach hurt. He never thought Chao Xinxin would have such a day. As expected, Song Yi still ended up in trouble. Chao Xinxin was looking for a place to vent her anger, and Song Yi walked right into it. Just then, Mo Xiao came over and asked Chao Xinxin to go for an interview. Chao Xinxin nodded blankly agreeing. It seemed Song-yi knew this person and greeted them friendly, saying he came especially to see them today. However, Mo Xiao ignored Song-yi, acting as if they didn't see him, and turned to leave. Song-yi was left standing there alone. Song-yi suddenly turned into a lovesick puppy, calling out Yi's name repeatedly. He mentioned a newly opened restaurant and wanted to invite them. Mo Xiao brushed him off, saying they were busy. Song-yi was confused, thinking he hadn't arranged much work for them recently, so how could they be busy? He turned back and gave Qiao Xinxin a cold look, saying, "I'll remember you, Qiao Xinxin." Qiao Xinxin stood in front of the camera with Song-yi, announcing that she had officially become an artist under Song-yi Entertainment and asked for everyone's support. Reporters quickly asked what plans Song-yi had for Qiao Xinxin. He replied that Qiao Xinxin would be co-starring in a drama with Mo Xiao. Mo Xiao was a bit angry, secretly cursing. "Well, Song-yi, you're treating your little lover quite nicely. Weren't you supposed to act with me? You'll see what's coming." Another person who wanted to trip up Qiao Xinxin had appeared. During filming, Mo Xiao deliberately avoided contact with Qiao Xinxin, causing her to fall to the ground. Then Mo Xiao picked up Qiao Xinxin again. Suddenly, she let go, causing Qiao Xinxin to fall to the ground once more. Mo Xiao claimed her hand slipped and she couldn't catch her, asking the director to reshoot. Qiao Xinxin cursed Mo Xiao in her heart, knowing it was intentional. When Qiao Xinxin stood up to try again, Mo Xiao dodged, causing Qiao Xinxin to fall once more. Qiao Xinxin lost her temper. People around started questioning Mo Xiao, as she was usually professional. What was wrong with her today? Seeing Qiao Xinxin on the ground, Song-yi quickly ran over. Mo Xiao saw how gentle and caring Song-yi was towards Qiao Xinxin and secretly complained. Noticing something off, Qiao Xinxin thought, could it be that Mo Xiao likes Song-yi? Feeling like she discovered something she shouldn't have, she told Mo Xiao, "Song-yi came especially to see you." Mo Xiao ignored Qiao Xinxin and walked away, looking like a girl upset in love. Song-yi remarked that his attempt to please her had failed, as Xiao wouldn't even look at him. After filming, Qiao Xinxin was clearly unwell. Her forehead was hot. She probably had a fever. A young fan said they would go get the car and asked Qiao Xinxin to hang on for a bit. Feverish Qiao Xinxin was mumbling incoherently. A woman hiding nearby saw Qiao Xinxin's assistant leave and quickly approached her. Pretending to be staff, she said she would take Qiao Xinxin to the hospital. The young assistant noticed Qiao Xinxin was gone and saw her being taken away. The assistant quietly followed and saw the woman take Qiao Xinxin to Mo Xiao's room. She thought this vicious woman might be trying to stage a scandal for Qiao Xinxin. The clever assistant came up with a plan. Mo Xiao was stunned, wondering why Qiao Xinxin was there. Then, a group of reporters outside, probably instigated by that woman, came to interview Mo Xiao. Mo Xiao knew if they saw Qiao Xinxin, it would be impossible to clear things up. She opened the door slightly and told the reporters, "This is my home. Does being sent by the company allow you to trespass?" The clever assistant seized the chance to jump in. She planned to carry Qiao Xinxin away first. If discovered, Qiao Xinxin's future would be ruined. The assistant summoned all her strength to carry Qiao Xinxin. Then she jumped out the window. That was close, they almost got caught. The reporters who rushed and seemed to sense something and quickly searched for traces of Qiao Xinxin. What they didn't know was that Qiao Xinxin had already been carried away by her assistant. The assistant slowly walked back, supporting her. As Qiao Xinxin opened her eyes, she saw Chao Pengfei walking over with a bowl of hot porridge. He advised her not to push herself so hard, saying such a packed schedule would be too much for her body to handle. Chao Pengfei was determined not to let the company continue to exhaust Qiao Xinxin's body. Zhang Feng, having received news from somewhere, also came to see Qiao Xinxin. This made Chao Pengfei unhappy, feeling jealous again. Qiao Xinxin said she was fine and asked why he came to see her when he was so busy. She then started acting again, pitifully saying she should quit and not interfere with his relationship with Bai Xiaodong. Qiao Xinxin played this hand skillfully. Zhang Feng immediately comforted her, saying there was nothing between him and Bai Xiaodong, while cursing Bai Xiaodong countless times in his heart. "How could you be interfering?" he said, while cursing Bai Xiaodong countless times in his heart. Meanwhile, Chao Pengfei felt a sourness in his heart as if he had lost something. Indeed, Chao Pengfei had fallen for Qiao Xinxin. After recovering, Qiao Xinxin made an appointment with Bai Xiaodong. Xiao Xinxin told Bai Xiaodong to leave Zhang Feng, turning the tables on her. Bai Xiaodong immediately slammed the table and wanted to leave, but Xiao Xinxin grabbed her hand, saying she wanted to settle accounts. Xiao Xinxin whispered in Bai Xiaodong's ear, "You're of no value to Zhang Feng now. You should know what happens to someone who knows his secrets but has no use." Bai Xiaodong immediately thought that if Zhang Feng could cause Yu Minglei's death, her fate probably wouldn't be much better. Despite her thoughts, Bai Xiaodong still told Xiao Xinxin that her relationship with Zhang Feng was incomparable. Xiao Xinxin scoffed at this, asking if he had said the same to Yun Minglei. What was the result? Didn't you two end up killing Yun Minglei together? Bai Xiaodong quickly responded, saying Yun Minglei's death was an accident and accusing Xiao Xinxin of talking nonsense. After saying this, she turned to leave. Meanwhile, Xiao Xinxin drank the drug juice, unsure if Bai Xiaodong or she herself had spiked it. After drinking the juice, Xiao Xinxin collapsed. Bystanders quickly took out their phones to call an ambulance. Later, an anonymous netizen leaked the news about Bai Xiaodong poisoning Xiao Xinxin. Although there wasn't enough evidence, it planted a seed of doubt in everyone's mind. Upon hearing the news, Zhang Feng quickly decided that Bai Xiaodong couldn't stay and needed to be sent abroad immediately. So, Bai Xiaodong was forcibly taken away by his subordinates. They said it was the boss's orders and asked not to make things difficult for them. Seeing Zhang Feng abandon her, Bai Xiaodong was furious, wondering if she dared to go down with Zhang Feng. Upon learning the truth, he was also very angry that someone dared to frame Mo Yixiao and Xiao Xinxin. Song Yi said he would teach that freeloader Zhang Feng a lesson, showing him who really runs the entertainment industry. The assistant beside him couldn't believe that the boss could be so serious. Other employees asked Assistant Liu why the boss was so angry. He used his connections to seize resources from Adverse Wind live streaming. Mo Yixiao had long seen through everything. Under the guise of seeking revenge for herself, she was actually helping Xiao Xinxin. Qiao Pengfei increasingly felt that something was off with Xiao Xinxin. Since waking up from the poisoning, she seemed like a different person, with her relationships becoming more complex. At this time, Xiao Xinxin was on the phone with Zhang Feng. Qiao Pengfei pretended to pass by Xiao Xinxin, trying to overhear what she was saying. Just then, flowers sent by Zhang Feng to Xiao Xinxin arrived, which Qiao Pengfei happened to see. Full of doubts, Qiao Pengfei came to ask Xiao Xinxin about Bai Xiaodong's situation. Xiao Xinxin, as if not understanding what he was talking about, played dumb, asking, "What situation?" Qiao Pengfei spoke directly. "You told the police that Bai Xiaodong invited you to the bar. With your current personality, how would you agree to meet? You're no longer the kind-hearted Xiao Xinxin you used to be." Xiao Xinxin's temper flared up. She retorted, "I was indeed kind before, but what good did it do me? Heaven didn't punish the bad people. Instead, they're living better than me." Qiao Pengfei was stunned, feeling that Xiao Xinxin was completely different from before, as if she had become a different person. Qiao Pengfei left alone. He left Xiao Xinxin by herself. At this point, she couldn't turn back. No one could stop her revenge. Qiao Pengfei went to the meeting room and asked why Xiao Xinxin's activities had suddenly increased. He really was constantly concerned about her. The company's shareholders scoffed, saying that although Xiao Xinxin's entertainment resources were signed to Tsung E Entertainment, she was still a streamer signed to their company and should make money for them. Qiao Pengfei spoke frankly, "I know what you're thinking. If you have any conditions, just say them." The other party immediately made a request, saying they could reduce Xiao Xinxin's workload, but Qiao Pengfei would have to take on a new streaming goddess, Chi-Chi. Considering Xiao Xinxin's health condition, Qiao Pengfei gladly agreed. At this time, Xiao Xinxin was interacting with fans in her live stream. Suddenly, the new goddess Chi-Chi came to Xiao Xinxin's live stream. The assistant mentioned that she was Qiao Pengfei's new talent. Xiao Xinxin was confused about why Qiao Pengfei had started taking on new talent. The newcomer Chi-Chi played innocent, saying she had disturbed Xiao Xinxin's stream. She knew Xiao Xinxin was streaming, but came on purpose, clearly trying to gain attention. There was even a live streaming in progress sign at the door. Chi-Chi had achieved her goal, successfully riding on Xiao Xinxin's popularity. The clever assistant saw through Chi-Chi's intentions. She kindly reminded Xiao Xinxin. Xiao Xinxin said to let it go. It was just a small tactic. What she didn't expect was that worse was yet to come. Soon after, Xiao Xinxin saw Chi-Chi holding Qiao Pengfei's hand, acting cute and coquettish. Riding on Xiao Xinxin's popularity, Chi-Chi successfully secured many endorsements, including some high-end ones. The assistant pointed out that she was copying Qiao Xinxin's strategy. Qiao Xinxin seemed indifferent, stating that they were in a whirlpool of desire and ambition, where any method of becoming famous wasn't surprising. When Qiao Xinxin successfully wrapped up her first drama, Chi-Chi brought Xiao Pengfei to congratulate her, but with ulterior motives. Qiao Xinxin realized that she used to be the one standing beside Xiao Pengfei. Although she disliked Chi-Chi, she had to maintain appearances and politely said thank you out of courtesy. Chi-Chi began her act, calling Brother Peng and saying she forgot her bag in the car, asking if he could get it for her. Xiao Pengfei had no choice but to agree. He seemed to suddenly understand something. It turned out no one was irreplaceable. Qiao Xinxin said she could sacrifice anything for revenge. Neither Qiao Xinxin nor Mo Yixiao noticed anything wrong. Just as Mo Yixiao was about to drink water, Qiao Xinxin noticed the water's viscosity was high, more like glue. She acted quickly, slapping the water bottle out of Mo Yixiao's hand. Confused, Mo Yixiao stood there stunned. Qiao Xinxin explained to Mo Yixiao that it wasn't water, but glue. The spilled glue got on Mo Yixiao's clothes. She touched it. Indeed, it was glue. Mo Yixiao also said thank you to Qiao Xinxin. Qiao Xinxin took the opportunity to tease. To hear a thank you from a big star, I'm truly blessed. Mo Yixiao couldn't understand why Qiao Xinxin was still willing to help her despite how badly she had treated her. After leaving, Qiao Xinxin felt like someone was watching her from behind. When she got home and opened the door, she found things scattered everywhere. Someone had broken in. Qiao Xinxin immediately checked her cash and jewelry, finding nothing missing. Suddenly, a knock on the door startled Qiao Xinxin. She looked through the peephole and saw no one at her door. She suddenly realized something was wrong. The person outside became more aggressive, scaring Qiao Xinxin so much that she fell to the ground. Her first reaction was to call Xiao Pengfei. But on the other end, it was the green tea bitch Chi-Chi who answered, saying Xiao Pengfei was busy, and then hung up. Qiao Xinxin felt desperate at this moment. She couldn't get through to Song Yi's phone either, so Qiao Xinxin could only ask that person for help. That person quickly came over and yelled at the people outside, telling them to get lost. When Qiao Xinxin heard no more noise outside, she slowly opened the door. The person who came was indeed Mo Yixiao. Qiao Xinxin expressed her gratitude for Mo Yixiao's help. Mo Yixiao said it was nothing, just repaying the favor from before. He then walked straight into Qiao Xinxin's home. Qiao Xinxin asked what he was doing. Mo Yixiao said he was staying with her, just in case. The next day, when Xiao Pengfei saw the missed call, he rushed to Qiao Xinxin's home. He arrived just as Mo Yixiao was leaving, and thousands of thoughts raced through his mind. The three of them stood there, looking at each other in bewilderment. Mo Yixiao said goodbye to Qiao Xinxin. Xiao Pengfei, not knowing the truth, didn't listen to Qiao Xinxin's explanation. He immediately accused her of using any means necessary for her career. At this moment, Qiao Xinxin felt very wronged. Xiao Pengfei hadn't listened to her explanation and had casually accused her. Qiao Xinxin felt desperate and said that this was who she was, and he just hadn't realized it before. This was Qiao Xinxin's most vulnerable moment. She then shut Xiao Pengfei out. She came to terms with it, thinking that people like Zhang Feng would eventually stop at nothing. It was better for Xiao Pengfei not to get involved. Afterwards, Xiao Pengfei seemed to become a different person, treating employees much more harshly. No one knew what had happened. At this time, Xiao Pengfei saw a message from Chi-Chi asking if she had gained weight recently. Xiao Pengfei remained silent for a moment before responding. He said she had indeed gained quite a bit of weight and should eat less. This killed the conversation, leaving Chi-Chi speechless on the other end of the phone. Chi-Chi didn't give up. To gain better resources, she tried hard to please Xiao Pengfei, bringing him food and saying it was her first time cooking. She even fed him by hand, asking him to try it. The little assistant couldn't stand it anymore and secretly complained about this woman, wondering why she was always hanging around Brother Peng, who was the assistant's idol. At this time, Qiao Xinxin came to find Xiao Pengfei. When she opened the door, she found Chi-Chi there. Chi-Chi affectionately called Xiao Pengfei, saying he would be here soon and asking Qiao Xinxin to sit for a while. Qiao Xinxin couldn't believe they had reached this point. Chi-Chi said she didn't intentionally steal her resources. It was just that Xiao Pengfei gave them to her, and she couldn't refuse. Qiao Xinxin immediately realized that her recent decrease in activities was because they had all been given to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi Chi-Chi saw that Xiao Pengfei was about to enter the room. She switched on her green tea mode, claiming there was nothing between her and Xiao Pengfei and asking Xiao Xinxin to stop scolding her. Xiao Pengfei, already in a bad mood, entered and asked what they were doing. Chi-Chi ran to Xiao Pengfei's side, grabbing his arm and playing innocent. She said she and Xiao Pengfei had gotten too close, which made Xiao Xinxin unhappy and scold her. Xiao Xinxin couldn't believe such a cliché copyright situation was happening to her again. She had imagined the script. Chi-Chi should have said she was hit, then Xiao Xinxin could go and slap her to make it real. Why wasn't it following the script? Xiao Pengfei asked Xiao Xinxin if she had anything to explain. She calmly said no. Xiao Xinxin imagined how Xiao Pengfei would talk about her. She had come to terms with it. This was the best time for a break, so Xiao Pengfei wouldn't be implicated. To Xiao Xinxin's surprise, not only did Xiao Pengfei not blame her, he said to Chi-Chi, "I've been in this industry for so many years. These little tricks are outdated." Chi-Chi could only play dumb at this point. Xiao Pengfei pointed to the camera in the corner, saying it could record audio. He asked if they wanted to check the footage and advised that if one wants to be famous, they should behave. Xiao Xinxin watched Chi-Chi being scolded. She felt this wasn't what she had imagined. She hadn't even explained, yet he believed her without hesitation. Xiao Pengfei must have discovered something, so he tentatively said, "These are walnut cookies from a friend. They're delicious, try some." But Xiao Xinxin casually replied that she couldn't eat walnut cookies as she was allergic. Xiao Pengfei mentioned that during a previous livestream, she had eaten 10 boxes of walnut cookies without any allergic reaction. However, Yun Minglei was allergic to walnut cookies. This startled Xiao Xinxin, who thought she had been discovered. Xiao Pengfei continued, saying her behavior was becoming more and more like Yun Minglei's. He asked why she was imitating Yun Minglei. Xiao Xinxin was stunned for a moment before realizing that Xiao Pengfei hadn't discovered her secret, but thought she was imitating Yun Minglei. After all, being reborn in someone else's body was something no one would believe. Xiao Xinxin went along with Xiao Pengfei's words, saying she was indeed imitating Yun Minglei. She explained that she, Yun Minglei, and Song Yi were childhood friends. Yun Minglei's death was related to Zhang Feng, and she absolutely wouldn't stand by idly. She would find evidence of Yun Minglei's murder. She would seek revenge in Yun Minglei's way. At this moment, Xiao Xinxin appeared especially great in Xiao Pengfei's eyes, his eyes full of admiration. After finishing, Xiao Xinxin let out a long sigh. She had successfully drawn Xiao Pengfei into her camp. Xiao Pengfei expressed that he would find the truth for Yun Minglei and not let her die in vain. Xiao Xinxin once again emphasized the danger of this mission. Because they were seeking revenge against Zhang Feng, they didn't know what accidents might occur. Xiao Pengfei firmly stated that for Yun Minglei's sake, he would investigate to the end. Xiao Xinxin gratefully said, "Then let's find the truth together, avenge Yun Minglei, and bring down Zhang Feng." A sudden phone ring interrupted their thoughts. After answering the call, Xiao Xinxin's face changed dramatically. She learned that her mother, Mrs. Yun, had fallen down the stairs and was now seriously injured and unconscious. Xiao Xinxin immediately hung up and rushed to the hospital, with Xiao Pengfei following closely behind. Arriving at the hospital, Xiao Xinxin immediately asked the doctor about Mrs. Yun's condition. The doctor said the patient had suffered severe trauma to the back of her head, damaging brain tissue. Her life was saved, but it would be difficult for her to regain consciousness. Upon hearing the bad news, Xiao Xinxin stood there in shock. Xiao Pengfei comforted her. Xiao Xinxin said Mrs. Yun had been very good to her, and with Yun Minglei gone, she wanted to take good care of her. Xiao Pengfei said he would help too. He grabbed the doctor's arm and asked if there were any other treatment options. The doctor replied that if finances allowed, they recommended treatment abroad. There might still be hope. Xiao Xinxin said tearfully that she would find a way. Just then, the Yun family's butler came in crying, saying it was all his fault, that he was the reason Mrs. Yun got hurt. He blamed himself for taking a day off to go home. If he hadn't, Mrs. Yun might not have been injured. Xiao Xinxin consoled him, saying it wasn't his fault. It was an accident that no one wanted. Suddenly remembering something, Chun Yi widened her eyes. She said when she returned in the afternoon, she was told that Mrs. Yun had fallen down the stairs. She saw 2 teacups on the table in the living room, meaning someone else must have been there. The doctor nearby also said that Mrs. Yun's condition was strange. Usually, patients with accidental injuries don't have defensive wounds, but your mother has them. The specific situation needs further examination to confirm. Hearing this news, Qiao Xinxin was stunned. She stood there blankly, wondering if her mother's fall wasn't an accident after all. She lamented inwardly, saying she hadn't done anything wrong. So why did she end up with nothing? She just wanted justice, so why were they treating her like this? Seeing Qiao Xinxin in tears, Qiao Pengfei felt uneasy. He stepped forward to comfort her, telling her not to worry, that he would also take care of Mrs. Yun. Qiao Xinxin quickly expressed her gratitude, knowing that Qiao Pengfei would never lie to her. Qiao Pengfei shyly scratched his head, saying he was doing this for Yun Minglei too. The next day, Qiao Xinxin attended an event with Zhang Feng. Qiao Xinxin accidentally grabbed Zhang Feng's arm. She quickly apologized, but inwardly wondered why Zhang Feng had scratches on his hand. Could her mother have been harmed by Zhang Feng? Meanwhile, Qiao Xinxin's assistant complained to Qiao Pengfei that Qiao Xinxin's endorsement list was getting shorter and of lower quality. Even baby product ads were coming in. She also mentioned that Qiao Xinxin's resources were being given to Chi-Chi by the company. Qiao Pengfei and the assistant both grumbled that the company forgets old talents when new ones arrive. At this moment, Chi-Chi came to Qiao Pengfei's side, acting coy and inviting him to eat together. The assistant thought to herself that Qiao Pengfei was her idol Qiao Xinxin's. Qiao Pengfei said he would take her to meet Director Liu today to discuss the Paris fashion show. Chi-Chi's eyes lit up. She knew Director Liu, who was known as the fashion devil. Chi-Chi then acted cute, saying Qiao Pengfei was the best to her. This angered the assistant, who couldn't believe even Qiao Pengfei had turned to Chi-Chi's side. On their way, they happened to meet Qiao Xinxin. Chi-Chi came over to show off, saying Qiao Pengfei was taking her to meet Director Liu. She then asked Qiao Xinxin if she wanted to come along. Afterwards, she said sarcastically that this resource was introduced for her, and it might not be appropriate for Star Sister to go. Qiao Xinxin didn't want to engage with her, and said she didn't need to, as she wasn't interested in this. Qiao Pengfei's real purpose wasn't for Chi-Chi, but for Qiao Xinxin. He threatened the boss to give Qiao Xinxin's resources back to her. The boss laughed and asked what he could do otherwise. Qiao Pengfei calmly stated that Chi-Chi's fashion resources were introduced by him, so they could naturally be taken back. He asked if the boss could find similar resources for Chi-Chi if he took them back. After saying this, he walked out of the office smiling. The boss had no choice but to agree to Qiao Pengfei's demands. Meanwhile, Qiao Xinxin's studio was officially established. Fans around sent their blessings, and Qiao Pengfei was struggling internally. Was his feeling for Qiao Xinxin really just that of a work partner? Why did he feel jealous when he saw Qiao Xinxin with Zhang Feng? This could only be explained as being too close to see clearly. Qiao Pengfei dared not face his own heart. When Qiao Xinxin learned that her mother's condition had worsened, she rushed to the hospital. Outside the operating room, the doctor said the patient was in surgery and couldn't be disturbed. The doctor stated that the patient's condition had worsened, but this hospital was unable to handle it. Qiao Xinxin quickly made a phone call, asking to sell her Nifeng livestock in order to send Mrs. Yun abroad for better treatment. Looking at her severely injured and unconscious mother, Qiao Xinxin felt helpless. Who could understand this feeling of powerlessness? After returning from the hospital, Qiao Xinxin packed her schedule full, not leaving herself a moment's rest. Various endorsements, various dramas. Because Qiao Xinxin had withdrawn a lot of funds from the studio to save her mother, she was now working desperately to earn money. Her assistant watched with concern. At this moment, Song Yi and Qiao Pengfei rushed into Qiao Xinxin's studio, startling her. Song Yi quickly turned on the TV. Qiao Xinxin didn't understand this action and hurriedly asked what he was doing. The scene on TV made her eyes widen. The news reported that Mrs. Yun had transferred her shares, making Zhang Feng the largest shareholder. On TV, Zhang Feng was acting sanctimoniously, saying that Yun Menglei's mother said she was getting old and had no children, so she let him manage the company. Knowing her mother's personality, Qiao Xinxin immediately declared this impossible. Her mother would never sign a transfer agreement. Recalling Chun Yi's earlier account and Zhang Feng's various behaviors, Qiao Xinxin understood everything. It must have been Zhang Feng who pushed her mother. She directly stated her judgment, saying it must be Zhang Feng who pushed Mrs. Yun down for money. Qiao Xinxin also provided evidence, mentioning that she had seen scratches on Zhang Feng's wrist earlier, and the doctor had told her that Mrs. Yun had defensive wounds. This couldn't be a coincidence. Song, he said this kept man was eating his meal too hard, even committing such an unfilial act. He wouldn't let him get away with it. Chao Pengfei then suggested checking the surveillance footage. Checking Mrs. Yun's home surveillance would provide evidence of Zhang Feng entering the Yun residence. Song Yi quickly went to the Yun residence to operate the system. Unable to find the surveillance footage, Song Yi repeatedly asked Chun Yi to confirm if the surveillance was here. In the end, they found nothing. All surveillance footage had been deleted. Chao Pengfei said there might be another way. Everyone's eyes turned to him. He then explained that things deleted from a computer leave traces on the hard drive. With an expert, it might still be possible to recover. So he took out the hard drive, saying this was their last hope. Qiao Xingxing and Mo Yixiao attended the film opening ceremony. Fans below exclaimed that Qiao Xingxing and Mo Yixiao were too perfect together. Truly a talented man and beautiful woman. At this moment, Qiao Xingxing accidentally twisted her ankle. Fortunately, Mo Yixiao quickly reached out, directly holding Qiao Xingxing's waist to prevent her from falling. This embarrassed Qiao Xingxing terribly. After all, it was in public. Just then, Song Yi walked over and happened to see this dramatic scene, his face darkening. Qiao Xinxin was about to explain, but Song Yi didn't even listen and turned to leave immediately. Mo Yixiao still held on to Qiao Xinxin's wrist, not letting her leave. He said they still needed to take photos later. This angered Song Yi so much that he left the scene immediately. After returning home, Qiao Xinxin was applying a face mask while thinking about how to explain to Song Yi when she suddenly heard a knock on the door. She found that the visitor was actually Song Yi. He grabbed Qiao Xinxin's shoulders, crying and saying he was so miserable. His heart was in pain. Mo Yixiao didn't love him anymore. Song Yi slowly vented to Qiao Xinxin, saying how hard it was to like Mo Yixiao. When he got close, he feared burdening him. When he stayed away, he feared Mo Yixiao wouldn't see his good qualities. Indeed, Qiao Xinxin's judgment was sharp. She had noticed something off about these two earlier. Unexpectedly, Qiao Xinxin had been on a voice call with Mo Yixiao. Everything Song Yi had just vented was heard by Mo Yixiao. This made Song Yi extremely embarrassed. Qiao Xinxin said, "You heard everything. Now come and take him away." Shortly after, Mo Yixiao hurriedly arrived, picked Song Yi up, and left, saying he'd repay her another day. The next day, Qiao Xinxin came to Song Yi's office. As soon as she entered, she saw the two being affectionate. Qiao Xinxin remarked that she was still there. Song Yi teased Qiao Xinxin, saying, "Oh, there's a single dog here. The damage is low, but the insult is extreme." Qiao Xinxin couldn't be bothered with Song Yi and asked seriously, "You called me here? What's the matter?" Mo Yixiao took out a photo clearly showing Zhang Feng holding Yun Minglei's mother's ID card. Qiao Xinxin was momentarily stunned and asked Mo Yixiao how he knew Mrs. Yun was her mother. Mo Yixiao said Song Yi told him, and that he wanted to join their revenge alliance. Qiao Xinxin was very excited and thanked him. After all, more people meant more strength, especially a popular young star. At the Yun family's property management office, they were told the footage had been taken away, reportedly to the repair department at Tianqiao South for restoration. Upon learning the footage had been taken, Qiao Xinxin hurriedly drove to the repair department. Fortunately, it hadn't fallen into Zhang Feng's hands. Qiao Xinxin successfully obtained the video hard drive. Speak of the devil, she saw Zhang Feng running towards her like a madman. She realized he might also be here for the footage. So Qiao Xinxin crouched down, firmly blocking the doorway. Zhang Feng twisted the doorknob, wondering why he couldn't open the door. At this moment, Qiao Xinxin was calling for outside support, saying she couldn't hold on much longer. In an instant, Zhang Feng managed to open a gap in the door. Fortunately, Qiao Xinxin held the door firmly, nearly crushing Zhang Feng's leg. At the critical moment, outside support arrived. Chao Pengfei tightly covered Zhang Feng's head with a bag, saying the situation was urgent and this was the only option. Whether it's the best plan or not, any successful plan is a good plan. Chao Pengfei signaled Qiao Xinxin not to speak. Zhang Feng, with his head covered, was struggling randomly. By sheer coincidence, he grabbed the person behind it all, which was Qiao Xinxin. He shouted, "Who are you?" Seeing Qiao Xinxin caught, Chao Pingfei pushed Zhang Feng. As soon as Zhang Feng let go, Chao Pingfei signaled her to run, saying he would hold him off. After removing the bag from his head, Zhang Feng recognized Chao Pingfei and angrily asked what he was trying to do. Chao Pingfei made up an excuse, grabbed Zhang Feng's collar, and shouted at him to stay away from Xiao Xinxin. Zhang Feng also counterattacked, saying he would never give up on Xiao Xinxin. The video of Chao Pingfei and Zhang Feng fighting on the street was also exposed online. Tabloid media took advantage of this, claiming Chao Pingfei and Zhang Feng were fighting over Xiao Xinxin out of jealousy. Netizens commented on Xiao Xinxin, saying she had connections with many men, completely shattering her public image. Chao Pingfei's employees, seeing him fight, called him handsome. Xiao Xinxin's studio was in chaos. Various endorsements were canceled, overwhelming the assistant who was busy explaining everywhere. Xiao Xinxin returned and said all endorsements were canceled except one. The studio might not be able to pay salaries. Xiao Xinxin didn't expect the situation to become so serious. Xiao Xinxin knew if this issue wasn't resolved, the outcome for her and Chao Pingfei would be ugly. So she began to counterattack, claiming she was dating Zhang Feng, and that Zhang Feng was hot and cold towards her. Chao Pingfei was standing up for her. On Zhang Feng's side, the company's shareholders gathered, expressing disgust at Zhang Feng's behavior, using the Yun family's money to support another woman. The rumors were affecting the stock market. They said this matter needed to be resolved quickly, otherwise they would convene a board meeting to discuss whether he could continue to stay. At this moment, Zhang Feng was furiously helpless. He could only vent his anger on the table. The table wondered what it had done wrong. As Zhang Feng turned his head, he noticed something on the table. Upon closer inspection, he broke out in a cold sweat. On the table was a photo of him and Yun Minglei. Zhang Feng immediately shouted, asking who put it there.